In the small mountain town of Black Pines, people still whisper about the night Sarah Whitmore vanished. It was November 12th, 1998. A freezing Thursday, the kind of night when the wind seems to warn you to stay inside. Sarah was 29, a school teacher. Quiet, kind, the type of person who remembered everyone's birthday and always carried an extra umbrella in case someone forgot theirs. She lived alone in a small cabin on the northern ridge, just below the forest line. A peaceful place. Too peaceful, some would later say. Her last known movements were routine. She left work at 4:07 p.m., stopped at Miller's grocery store to buy tea and a pack of candles, and reached her home around 5:15 p.m. Several neighbors recalled seeing her car headlights pass. Nothing seemed strange. Nothing hinted at the storm about to swallow her life. At 7:42 p.m., Sarah called her sister, Claire, in Denver. The conversation lasted 13 minutes. Claire later reported that Sarah sounded distracted, but not upset. Somewhere in the background, there was a faint tapping noise, like someone gently hitting wood. Sarah brushed it off as a loose shutter. They said goodnight. That was the last confirmed contact. At 9:12 p.m., a hiker named Daniel Price reported seeing a female figure standing near the trail entrance, facing the forest. The woman was alone, wearing a long coat, unmoving, as if listening to something in the trees. Daniel approached, but before he reached her, his dog began barking violently. When he looked again, the woman was gone. Sarah was reported missing the next morning after she failed to show up at school. Police arrived at her cabin around 11:30 a.m. There were no signs of forced entry. The lights were off. Her front door was unlocked. A cup of tea sat on the counter, still stained with traces of mint. In the bedroom, the bed remained neatly made, the pillows untouched. On her desk, they found a notebook left open to a blank page, but the strangest detail was found near the back door. A small pile of pine needles arranged deliberately in a perfect circle. That circle would return again and again, like a silent signature. Outside, fresh snow had covered most footprints, but investigators found a set leading into the forest behind her home. The tracks were light, uneven, stopping abruptly 50 meters into the trees, as if the person had simply vanished. No signs of struggle, no blood, no torn clothing, just footsteps, walking into the woods in the dead of night. Then silence. For weeks, search teams combed through Black Pines forest. Dogs picked up Sarah's scent near the ridge, then lost it near an old fire road. Drones and helicopters scanned the area. Nothing. No body, no belongings, no trace of Sarah or anyone who might have taken her. Yet almost every night during the search, locals reported seeing a dim light flickering somewhere high on the ridge. Like a lantern, always in the same place, always disappearing when someone approached. When winter came, the search officially ended. But the whispers in town did not. Some believed Sarah had run away, others thought she had been taken, and a few insisted she had been lured into the forest by something or someone waiting for her. The official report called it disappearance under unknown circumstances, but those who knew Sarah believed the truth was far darker. When investigators reopened Sarah's case 3 months later, the snow had melted, revealing traces that had been buried all winter. Behind her cabin, about 20 meters into the woods, searchers found something they had missed before. A thin silver chain tangled in low branches. It was Sarah's. Her sister confirmed it immediately. But the chain was broken cleanly, as if cut, not torn. Nearby they found faint shoe impressions that did not match Sarah's boots. The prints were larger, heavier, and deeper in the soil, suggesting someone taller, stronger. The stride was determined. Whoever it was had been moving with purpose. Inside the house, new forensic methods uncovered something chilling. On the blank page of Sarah's notebook, there were microscopic indentations, as if someone had written on a sheet above it. After days of analysis, a few words emerged. Not alone tonight. Experts could not tell whether it was Sarah's handwriting. Her sister said no. Police remained uncertain. Then came another detail. The candles she bought hours before her disappearance were missing. None were found in the house. None were found in the forest. Why would Sarah need candles on a night when electricity was working perfectly? Why would she take them outside? The neighbors also reported something strange. Around 10 p.m. that night, several people in the Northern Ridge area noticed their dogs becoming restless, pacing, whining, refusing to go near the windows. Animals sense things people don't, especially in forests. Around the same time, one neighbor saw a dim reddish light moving between the trees behind Sarah's home. At first he assumed it was searchers or hunters, but it wasn't. It was long before she was reported missing, and the light moved too smoothly, too quietly, vanishing instantly, as if someone had covered it. Phone records brought new confusion. At 10:17 p.m., Sarah's landline received a 1-minute call from a payphone located 12 miles away, near the old Black Pines logging road. The call was never answered. The number belonged to no one. The payphone was later removed. Still, someone tried to reach her. A week later, hikers found a scrap of fabric caught on a tree branch 2 miles north of her home. It matched Sarah's coat, but the fiber analysis suggested it had been exposed to the elements for only a few hours, meaning someone had moved it long after she disappeared. Someone was placing breadcrumbs. But why? Police also found small pine circles, similar to the one near her back door, this time arranged deliberately along a stretch of trail deep in the forest, each circle identical, each placed beside a tree trunk, 8 in total. Some officers believed it was a ritual. Others thought it was a message. No one could explain it. One thing was certain: the forest was not hiding Sarah. Something or someone was hiding the truth. By spring, investigators concluded that Sarah had not left willingly, nor had she simply lost her way. She had been led, guided, or followed. The town of Black Pines began to fear that Sarah's disappearance was not an isolated tragedy, but the first sign of something watching them from the woods. When the case seemed cold, new witnesses stepped forward. People who had been too frightened or too unsure to speak earlier. The first was an elderly hunter named Raymond Cole. He claimed that 2 nights before Sarah vanished, he saw her speaking with a tall man in a dark coat near the ridge. Raymond was 50 meters away, too far to see the man's face, but he remembered one thing clearly. He wasn't looking at her. He was looking around her, like he expected someone or something else to come. Sarah seemed uncomfortable, stepping back several times. The conversation lasted less than a minute before the man walked into the forest without using any path. Why would someone walk directly into dense trees at night? 2 teenagers also reported seeing something strange around 8:30 p.m. on the night Sarah disappeared. They were driving out of town when they saw a figure standing on the side of the old fire road. The figure wore a long coat and seemed to be waving, not for help, but as if signaling someone deeper in the darkness. When the teens slowed their car, the figure stepped backward into the woods and disappeared without a sound. Then there was Emma Hartley, a park ranger who worked in Black Pines Forest. She admitted she had been patrolling the southern trails the night Sarah vanished. Around 9:40 p.m., Emma saw a faint flicker of light high on the ridge, exactly the same place others had reported a lantern-like glow in the weeks after. Emma approached, calling out, but the light vanished instantly. Moments later, she heard something moving between the trees, slow steps, heavy, deliberate. Not an animal, not a person moving casually. It was pacing, circling, keeping distance but not retreating. Emma left the area immediately. Another witness, a truck driver named Neil Porter, came forward with a strange detail. At 11 p.m. on the same night, he saw a sedan parked on the side of Highway 17, the road leading out of Black Pines. A man stood outside the car, staring toward the forest. He wasn't smoking. He wasn't using his phone. He was just standing still, hands in his pockets, looking into the darkness like he was waiting. When Neil slowed down, the man turned toward him, his face half hidden by the car's shadow. Neil described his expression as blank, like he wasn't seeing me at all. Seconds later, the man got back into his car and drove away with his headlights off. Officers later tried to find the car. They never did. The final witness was the most disturbing. A 12-year-old boy named Lucas claimed that on the morning Sarah's disappearance was announced, he saw a thin trail of smoke rising from deep in the forest. Thinking it might be from a campsite, he went to look. When he reached the clearing, he found nothing except a circle of pine needles, and in the center, the melted remains of a candle. He ran home immediately. When he returned with adults, the smoke was gone. The candle was gone. The circle remained. Investigators could not confirm his story. But the detail of the candle was impossible to ignore. The candles Sarah bought the day she disappeared were never found. Piece by piece, the witnesses were painting the same picture. Sarah had not walked alone into the forest. Someone had been waiting for her, watching her, and signaling to others. There are many theories about what happened to Sarah Whitmore, but let's consider a reconstruction based strictly on verified evidence and consistent witness accounts. Sarah arrives home at 5:15 p.m. She prepares tea. She writes, or someone writes above her notebook, the words, "Not alone tonight." She hears something outside. The tapping sound her sister heard on the phone was real, likely coming from near the forest line. She decides to take a few candles, perhaps intending to check her porch during a power fluctuation. Or maybe someone asked her to bring them. Around 7:30 p.m., she steps outside for a moment. Something feels wrong. She senses someone near the trees. She sees nothing, but the feeling stays. By 7:42 p.m., she calls her sister to feel less alone. Someone, or something, interrupts her attention during the call. She brushes it off, but she is aware of movement outside. Between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., she hears something again. She opens her back door. She sees a small light deeper in the forest, maybe a signal from someone she knows or thinks she knows. The cold wind is strong. She wraps herself in her coat, takes a flashlight, and walks toward the woods. A set of heavier footprints follow behind her at a distance. At around 9:12 p.m., the hiker sees a woman standing near the trail, facing the forest. This is likely Sarah. She might be waiting, hesitating, listening. She sees someone she recognizes or expects, and follows. Minutes later, she is out of view. Between 9:30 p.m. and 10 p.m., she meets someone in the deeper woods. Witnesses describe a tall man in a long coat, seen 2 nights earlier near her home. Maybe he is the same man, maybe not. They speak. There is tension, there is fear. Something goes wrong. Around 10 p.m., local dogs begin reacting, picking up fear or agitation from the forest. The candles Sarah brought may have been lit and placed on the ground, creating the circles later found. Perhaps a signal, perhaps a ritualized marking used by whoever controlled the meeting. At 10:17 p.m., the unanswered call from the remote payphone is made. This could be an accomplice, a lookout, or someone trying to warn Sarah without revealing their identity. Shortly after, Sarah's silver chain is torn or cut from her neck. It catches on a branch as she is moved or as she struggles. She is not killed immediately. Not yet. She is taken deeper into the woods. Between 11 p.m. and midnight, the mysterious man seen by the highway stands waiting, watching, perhaps coordinating with others in the forest. Not a kidnapper acting alone, but part of something more organized. By early morning, a small fire burns in a remote clearing. A candle melts completely. Evidence is destroyed. Pine needles are arranged in a deliberate circle. Perhaps a symbol used by the group, or simply a psychological mark left to confuse investigators. By dawn, Sarah is gone. No remains are found, no personal items, no trace of a body, because she was never left in a place where she could be found. And days later, the fabric of her coat appears on a branch far from the search area, placed intentionally, long after she vanished. A breadcrumb, not a clue, a distraction, not a trail. Taken together, these pieces point not to a random crime, but to a coordinated disappearance. The forest did not swallow Sarah Whitmore. Someone in that forest did. Based on the evidence, witness testimonies, and behavioral patterns surrounding the case, the most plausible theory is this: Sarah Whitmore was targeted, not by a stranger, not by a random attacker, but by someone connected to a group operating in the remote forests of Black Pines. Start with the pine needle circles. These were not symbols of a known cult, nor a prank left by teenagers. They were consistent, deliberate, repeated, placed where investigators would later find them. They served one purpose: signaling to Sarah, or signaling to someone guiding her. The call from the payphone at 10:17 p.m. makes sense in this context. A final check-in, a warning, or confirmation that she had already left her house. The witnesses describing the tall man in the long coat also align with a coordinated approach. He was seen multiple times, near different locations connected to Sarah. His behavior, watching the forest, not the people, suggests he was waiting for a sign, not stalking randomly. Then there is the lantern-like light, appearing always in the same place, disappearing instantly when approached. This was not coincidence. This was a signal, a beacon. But the most telling detail is the total absence of physical evidence. No torn clothing, no body, no drag marks, no dropped belongings. This level of erasure requires planning. It suggests Sarah was not killed in the forest. She was taken through it. Someone knew the land. Someone knew the search patterns. Someone moved at night with confidence. And the candles, they were tools, placed intentionally to mark a meeting point or to guide someone through the woods. Their wax melted completely by sunrise, eliminating all trace except the faint heat marks and the remaining circles. The man near the highway at 11 p.m. fits the final step, a transport out of the area. He waited, looked toward the forest, then drove off with his headlights off, avoiding attention on a rural road. What happened to Sarah afterward can only be theorized. She may have been taken out of state. She may have been held somewhere in the mountains. She may have been eliminated far from Black Pines. Or in the darkest version, she may have joined the same group that took her, whether willingly or not. Her open notebook with the words "not alone tonight" could mean two things: a warning she received, or a promise she accepted. The truth may never be found because the truth was never meant to be found. Black Pines did not hide Sarah Whitmore. It hid the people who came for her. People who knew the forest. People who watched before they acted. People who left symbols instead of evidence. And if they are still out there, They learned one thing from Sarah's disappearance. A silence, carefully constructed, can last forever. What do you think really happened in this case? I want to hear your theory. Share your thoughts in the comments. Every opinion helps uncover another piece of the puzzle. And if you want more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter.